Please welcome to the stage Lauren Maillian, CEO of Digital Undivided.
Hello! I am so incredibly excited to be here with you today. I am Lauren Maillian. I have the honor and privilege of serving as the CEO of Digital Undivided, the nation's leading nonprofit organization driving the global shift towards inclusive innovation and entrepreneurship for women of color. I'm so excited to be with you today because my journey has been a long one as a founder, as a woman entrepreneur, as a builder, as an investor, advisor, award-winning marketer. I wear a lot of hats. I've been called a multi-hyphenate throughout my entire career, but I think the most wonderful thing, the most beautiful thing of being called, at one point, jack of all trades, another point, the multi-hyphenate, is that now we're able to call this innovation. And innovation is best told through marketing, through storytelling that's powered by data, that's informed by really important, compelling insights. And so I'm excited today to speak to you all about marketing and about the power that understanding who your audience is, how to speak to them, how to engage them, how to learn from them, and how to be reactive and sometimes obviously very proactive can do incredible things for you all and your personal brands and for your business. Now, when we often think about marketing, there are so many questions that we have to ask ourselves. There's a lot of places that we go looking for information, whether that's online, podcast, or wherever you might be. But today we're here. We're at Business Class Live with American Express, a card that I use all the time, every single day, to power my business and my life. But most importantly, we're here to really uncover how these strategies that American Express has asked me to share with you can help you all catapult your businesses, your careers, your brands, and narratives that you feel are deeply important to your success. So, a couple of things that we're going to start with. This is who I am. I told you I wear a lot of hats, and there are even a few things missing from there, because of course I'm a wife and a granddaughter and a whole lot of other titles that we wear as women. But again, all of these have allowed me to learn, to grow, and to make informed, interesting decisions, and it's allowed me to have a network where I can connect the dots of all the industries I've worked in and all the people that I've gotten to know along the way. A lot of the time when we think about marketing, you innately think that it has to cost a lot of money, it has to be incredibly difficult to do or to execute. But today I'm going to show you some ways that you can do things that are scrappy, that are grassroots, but that get you incredible results. The beauty of where we are today in the world of social media, digital strategies, technology, is that the stories that we tell can reach hundreds, thousands, millions of people almost in an instant, right? And also that we are able to use technology and social media to be connective tissue, whether that's to consumers or to audiences or even within industries. So as you see here, I've worked in venture capital, I've started my own VC firm, I've worked in technology as an investor, advisor, strategist, consultant, marketer. I've advised some of the world's most influential C-suite leaders on brand innovation, technology, storytelling, and marketing strategies that have changed the game for themselves and their companies. I've worked in media and entertainment. I've been on television. I've been able to understand how important it is to put a voice behind a story and to connect dots that other people might have curiosities or questions about. And the best marketers are ahead of the game. Again, being proactive, not always reactive, and are anticipating what some of those questions might be from their community or their audiences. And the very best marketers address those concerns up front, or they lead you down the path of a really interesting journey of being able to collaborate in some form or fashion on how to have a better outcome for yourself as the consumer and for the company, right? I always say that the best marketers have a two-way communication with their audience. You're listening, you're learning, you're improving, you're implementing. It's iterative. The same way that we live and breathe and life for us is ever changing, so is marketing, especially when we're talking about digital. I've worked in the hospitality industry. I started my first business when I was 19 years old, a vineyard and winery that I turned into an internationally recognized, award-winning wine brand that also made me the youngest self-made winery owner in the country. That was only possible because of great storytelling, good sound marketing, but most importantly, knowing and understanding my niche and how to communicate to them and how to learn from what they were also communicating back to me to be able to implement that for better brand experience, for better consumer engagement, for better connective tissue, but most importantly, to be able to create this ecosystem within brand message, brand voice, brand experience that was not just true and authentic and holistic, but that was self-reinforcing, where everything I said, the brand said, our team members said resonated with our consumers, and everything that they asked were questions that we were happy and eager to answer, and where their experience of being able to ask questions and have knowledgeable answers and incredible experiences were things that they were happy to go organically share their authentic experience with our company, right? That is what we all want as marketers, is that opportunity to say, I'm going to create this space where everything that we do is self-reinforcing so that the brand continues to grow and flourish, right? And grow and flourish from who could be your better spokesperson other than your audience themselves, sharing their most positive experiences with you, your team, your brand, or your business. I learned that really, School of Hard Knocks, almost 20 years ago, starting my very first business. And last but certainly not least, CPG. I spent a lot of time in consumer goods, again, helping to identify what niche audiences should be, how we should be speaking to certain subsets of the consumer market, and how brands that I've worked with can do better. And I'm really excited to share some of my learnings with you today. So I want to know a little bit about your story. We're going to open it up towards the end for Q&A, but there are some questions that I want you all to ask yourselves that you'll find on the screens to the left and right of me. What industries have you worked in? I've told you a little bit about me, and I do want to learn a little more about you. How have those industries shaped you? And what industry are you currently working in? I think one of the largest fears I hear from people out in the world when I'm working with clients or even looking at the market is this fear that some skills maybe don't transfer, especially if you're your own business owner, if you're a founder and an entrepreneur, switching lanes, going into a different industry. Don't be afraid. Let's identify what those skills and experiences are that do translate to where you're going next, and then let's do the absolute best we can to learn and iterate along the way. And then, what titles or hats have you worn? Right? And that helps us also identify where we need help in creating better strategies. Maybe you know your customer really well. Maybe you don't think that you are the marketer, but maybe you're the one with all of the data and the insights on who your consumer is. Maybe you have all of the data on the financial trends for your business. Maybe you're really deep into the numbers and there's an incredible story to tell there. Maybe you've had some conversations with your customers and there are really wonderful stories that you can tell there as well. Despite the hats that you wear, the opportunity to find and identify compelling marketing stories and narratives within your business are limitless. And it's limitless because our customers, our consumers, our audiences are curious. They're curious about what you're doing next, what you've already done, why you chose to do it, how committed that you may be to who they are as your audience, as your consumer. But please promise me one thing, that you will not allow yourself to be limited by your own previous experiences that you think might not fit the traditional box of marketing, branding, communications, or consumer engagement. As long as you know your business well, there is a story to be told. Now, when we're talking about our audience, we always have sometimes different audiences depending on where we are and what industries we're in. You can have a business that's B2B, you can have a business that's B2C, right? Sometimes your audience might be the trades, sometimes your audience might be existing consumers, prospective consumers, consumers that you want to win back, or consumers where you want to deepen their loyalty and affinity to your brand or your business. But always thinking about who is my consumer and who is my audience. They might not always be the same. One might feed into the other, but it is also okay, and a great recommendation that I'll give to all of you, to not just speak to your consumer. Speak to and have marketing strategies for all the tangential parts of your business as well. If you're in a brick and mortar store, or if you're in products or services, of course you want your customer to speak about you in positive ways and have an incredible experience, but you also want the power of your brand marketing to mean that your suppliers speak about you in good light. It means that you also want to have your colleagues having wonderful experiences within your company, right? Brand marketing now is very different. It is not just about the consumer. It is now about all of the tentacles that your business will be able to touch. Again, your peers, your team, your suppliers, even we can go up the chain to your investors, your future investors, prospective investors. These things are all incredibly important to how you build a marketing strategy that is genuine to who you are, but most importantly, a strategy that can become what you are known for best. The best brands, you know exactly what you're going to get from them. You know exactly what you can depend on them for. It could be a product, it could be a service, it could be an experience, it could be a feeling, it could be laughter, it could be so many things. But again, it comes down to having a strategy that allows you to understand why your audience is coming to you and to ensure that they want to and continue coming back again and again. Now, I told you we're going to get interactive, and I have a case study I'm going to share with you as well. But there's 2 questions on the screens. And take pictures, write them down. I'll leave them there for a minute. But I want you to think about these. They're really important. They're simple, but they're important. They're thought-provoking. And these questions in particular are ones that you could ask yourself several times over and get different answers, all of which you should probably act on. Because again, we have different audiences with different purposes and different niches that we want to know better, and that we want to learn from, and that we want to communicate to, and that we want to have positive experience with our business or our brand. So you'll see, if my marketing helped me achieve blank, my business would be better because. Again, it's simple, but I'm sure that you could probably fill in these blanks several times over, yes? Because you either have several pain points that you want to make sure you do better in your business, or you have a lot of initiatives that you want to achieve that you know would also catapult your business in another direction, or take you to the next level, or broaden the scope of your audience, or bring in greater revenue, or open more doors to more suppliers, right? Or get you on more shelves at the same suppliers, but in more stores. You could continue filling in these blanks, and I want you to continue filling in these blanks, because even though this is a really simple exercise, it is one that will keep you thinking constantly about where you are going with your business. Now, I have a case study for you, and I thought about the case study that I wanted to share with you all today, but because we're at Business Class Live, I want to give you something that I know you could do yourself. I want to give you something that I know money wouldn't stop you from, and I know you could execute on with a lean team. Oftentimes we go to great conferences and we hear and see shiny presentations. I've given some myself, but that doesn't mean that we always have those shiny resources to be able to do, create, or copy paste what we see another big brand do. Trust me, I know. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life looking at big, fancy, glossy things that I couldn't always compete with. But I knew that I could create a feeling, a sentiment, an opportunity, an experience that would change the game for my business, and that would incrementally and exponentially change the trajectory of my business, my brand, and my career. And we can always look at those shiny opportunities, even the ones that maybe we can't tap into ourselves, and we can learn from them. There's always something to learn there. And so the case study that I'm going to share with you is one that I created and cost me nothing. 0. And it's something that I created actually at Digital Undivided, where I am a first-time ever nonprofit CEO. I've never run a nonprofit before. And when I came into the organization, let me take you to the problem slide, just so that you understand. Whenever we're doing case studies, whenever we're looking even at where we want to go in the future with marketing, we're identifying a problem, right? Or an opportunity. In this case, there was a problem. I had a big problem with what I was seeing out in the world. And it's representative of what you see here on the screen. That, let's look at one here. Yes, women of color are underfunded. Yes, it's bad for the economy, but now it's time to do something about it. Who saw these headlines about 2 years ago? Show of hands, who saw some of these headlines? Really? One more time. Show of hands. How many people saw these headlines? It's okay. I know y'all read the news. It's okay. Good. I had a problem with this. I had come in June 1st of 2020. I transitioned from chairing our board of directors at Digital Undivided to being appointed CEO, first time ever nonprofit leader, and I knew I had to put on my marketing hat first. I knew that in order for us to see change for women of color, the women that we serve at Digital Undivided, that we were going to have to shift not just the narrative, but we were going to have to immediately shift and change the public perception and assumptions that exist about who women of color are and what we can accomplish. And so when I put on my marketing hat, I had so many people say, I don't know if that's gonna work for a nonprofit. Why are you, Lauren, being the one to lead the charge in this particular conversation? Why are you, Lauren, knocking on the doors of media companies to change the perception? And I said, with great confidence, just watch. This is the power of marketing. An innovative solution that cost me nothing other than my time, my dedication, my persistence, my diligence, my ideas. But on a financial snapshot, this was a partnership that I thought long and hard about who I wanted to partner with, why I wanted to partner with them, what was in it for them, what was in it for us, if we were aligned in our mission, if we were in sync on the issue and feeling as though the issue was as big and as bad as I felt it was, and most importantly, if we had synergy in creating a compelling story that would be better if we did it together than if either one of us would have done it alone. And I intentionally went to Cosmo. Here to the sides of me on the screens, you see Venus Williams. My immediate first call when I said we've got to shift the perception of women of color with an innovation in technology was to a dear friend and colleague, Nancy Berger at Hearst. And I said, I would really love for you to join me in creating the new C-suite. And immediately, Nancy says, yes, we are doing this together. It is ours. And I'm proud to say that Digital Undivided and Cosmo Magazine are now in year 2 of a recognition list called The New C-Suite that has completely changed the game for women of color entrepreneurs. There has never before, thank you, but y'all haven't even seen the results yet, okay? Let me talk about the results. So I intentionally went to Nancy Berger, not just because she's my friend, not just because she's smart, not just because she's great, not just because of any of those things, but because if we go back to earlier in my presentation, all these industries I've worked in, that connective tissue I was talking about, was going to allow Lauren, the new nonprofit leader, to change the game by stepping over here into that media, entertainment, tech bucket and tapping on my network to say, let's change the game together. Now, what did we do? I said, every time we look up, whether it's Forbes 30 under 30, Fortune 40 under 40, Fast Company's most innovative, most creative, these lists change the game. You all know this, right? Yes? Yes. Oh, okay. Because you see, when folks get on that list, not only is it on social, not only is it in a press release, not only it is in marketing materials, not only do they put it up on their website, not only do they put badges in their email signatures and in their decks, but doors open for them and their business and their brands that have never before been available to them because narrative change, because of brand awareness, because of the ability to shift perception in powerful ways. And once you do that, don't you know the floodgates open for opportunity? Now watch. So, for the first time ever, Cosmopolitan magazine spotlit female entrepreneurs of color in the magazine. This was our very first year that you see on the sides of the screen, on the screens on the sides of me. And it was then written up in Ad Age and several other platforms as the top nonprofit partnership to change the game and visibility and public perception, hands down. We were able to honor these incredible founders, businesses that we put on radars of national, multi-million-dollar, multi-billion-dollar corporations, whether that's for supplier diversity opportunities, whether that was founders on this list who, were in a test in some of the country's greatest retail outlets that all of a sudden got picked up for national distribution because they had had national coverage in Cosmopolitan magazine. Now, not only, and I'm going to go back for a second, not only did Venus serve as the cover of that issue, she joined us as a judge on our judging panel, as an entrepreneur in her own right as well. So these founders were given visibility also to myself, the judging panel, which included executives from Cosmopolitan, and Venus Williams. So even if you didn't win, you were seen. Maybe not everyone was seen who applied, but those who made it close to the finish line were seen and put on new radars for new opportunities, regardless of if they were chosen or not. But what we also did was not only did we create this list, not only did we put press and buzz around the women that we had identified, we story told. We story told why we wanted the change. We story told what the problem was. Cosmo was loud and proud and unapologetic about saying this is an issue that we need to fix and that this is how we are fixing it. And all of the women who were honored, their businesses were not just featured in Cosmo in print, they weren't just recognized on the list, it was also a shoppable content all on Cosmo's website where you could actually click and buy and see and learn from these women and their businesses. Across industries, across categories. It's okay, y'all can clap, come on, it's okay, it's okay. And we are now in year 2 of this list. And this has never been done before for women of color. And again, why did I go to Cosmo? Because I wanted, and so here you see Ad Age in the middle. Cosmopolitan launches the new C-suite honoring women of color entrepreneurs. They've never done this before. This was also one of their best read issues of last year. They also, Jessica Pels, editor-in-chief, says to me, Lauren, I've had so many women writing in, even if they weren't a woman of color themselves, saying thank you for making business cool and sexy. Thank you for shining a light on these founders. Thank you for bringing the conversation here. But this cost me nothing but my idea and my time and a call to a friend and a colleague that I knew was aligned in what I wanted to accomplish and see and who could help amplify and accelerate the mission and the outcomes. This is some of the outcomes for the women. They've grown their business, they've raised more money, they've hired more team members, more doors have opened. Exponentially more doors have opened for them. This is the power of knowing your niche and how to communicate to your audience. With that, I'm going to open it for Q&A. I think we have about 15 minutes for Q&A. So, let's see, I don't know how we're doing questions. I see some hands up. Oh, I apologize. I guess everyone's supposed to come to the microphone and ask their question.
Yes,
I'm so sorry.
hi.
So if you have questions, please just come to the mic, and I will answer as many as I can, as quickly as I can, because I told you we're going to make this interactive. So let's go. I'm excited.
Hi, first of all, thank you for doing that in Cosmo. That was beautiful. I really appreciate your work and service. Thank you. My name is Tanya TKO, and I'm a content creator on Facebook and YouTube. And I've been listening to these marketing talks all day, especially yours. And one question that keeps ringing round and round in my mind is, my product is free online. People go, they watch my videos, so when we start talking about marketing and our audience, et cetera, I'm not really sure how to transfer what it is that I have that's given away for free into something that is actually, monetizable. I don't have a publicist. I really just don't know how to break out outside of YouTube.
I think that without knowing a lot about your business, right, and how you're set up, look at your channel as a way to ask questions, right, and to learn who your audience is and what they might want from you that you could buy or that you could upsell, right? I'm sure if you say, hey guys, what is it that I could give you that you would really appreciate? You don't have to say that I'm gonna sell to you, right? But you can have insights on what it is that they would trust you as a content creator to teach them, show them, talk to them about. And then you might wanna have some of your videos be in a paid membership only section. I don't know enough about your content, unfortunately, but I would use that as a breeding ground for like your own focus group, A. And B, I think wherever you are like embedding your videos, maybe you want to change that. I know that there's some wonderful monetization on YouTube itself, but you might even want to embed those YouTube videos on your website where you can then do heat mapping around where people are going on your website and why, so that you can start tracking their behavior.
Well, one of my biggest issues is the team. Like, Issa Rae talked about it earlier, about the team, and like you gave in your example, you were able to call up Ms. Berger, who assisted you with the Cosmo spread, but how do we go about really finding that team that can help take our business to the next level? Like, I've been talking to many people here, networking, et cetera, but it just seems so random because you only get close to the people who are near you. You ask them, but there's so many different businesses here. So what suggestions would you give for a small business person who wants to grow but needs a team and is not really sure how to find reliable people to do the editing for TikTok or to have the publicist, et cetera?
I think there's a lot of online services that I know don't always work out for folks when you're outsourcing these sorts of things. In my experience, and even to my mentees, I'm always telling them that if you are a wonderful steward of your own brand and that of your business, your next best hire is following you, buying from you, and wants to see you succeed and wants to join your mission in doing so. So I would look at the folks who are in your community already, who are following you, who are liking your videos. I'm sure you've got editors looking at your videos, right? That are like, ooh, she edited good, or you could do a little bit better. Hey, put out a call to your own community. And those should be your people that jump in, and those should be the people that even know you best because they've been watching you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Tandy. I am one of the co-founders, along with Ashley, for our company called Skintress, where we're creating a tool to help people with skin of color have access and care satisfaction when dealing with dermatologists, and we're leveraging telehealth to do so. My question is, though, how would you suggest startups or small businesses leverage journalists or leverage the press so that they can get their story out there? Are there any specific tactics or tools that we should be doing so that when we get good press, we capitalize on it? Or if we're not getting any press, how do we get our foot out the door? Or how do we make that step so that people can know about us and advocate for us?
Give them news to tell.
Okay.
Like literally. So if you've identified a problem, you're working with your co-founder to fix it, storytell around the problem. And how is this problem impacting other communities that said journalists would care about? If you're going to a Black publication, it has its own spin, right? If you're going to a dermatology magazine, maybe there's a clinical spin, right? If you're going into lifestyle and routine, maybe there's an easier way to achieve this outcome, but tell them, give them the news. Okay. You know the problem. You're identifying things under the hood that these journalists aren't in the business of identifying, right? Whenever I'm talking to journalists all the time, and I'm sure some are watching, I'm sure they're at home watching somewhere. They are often saying to me, Lauren, they admit they're not experts. They're not designed to be experts. They're designed to be really good communicators of the information that you choose to tell them, which is why when folks get publicists, your publicist will often say, stick to these sound bites, because they will take what you put down, they'll pick it up, and their job is to communicate it. Their job is not to be the expert. So the more and more you and your co-founder can also make yourselves experts in your field, people will come knocking on your door when they're looking for feedback on skin, hyperpigmentation, women of color, people of color, what have you, but you hold that power in your voice and how you present the issue.
Thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome.
Hi, my name is Juanita. I just have a quick question on like brand awareness. So publicity is really key to like brand visibility. How do you recommend pitching at platforms or magazines? What does that conversation look like?
Pitching what to a magazine?
So like platforms or magazines that could really give you publicity or do like a feature, an article?
It's very similar to the advice I just gave the other young lady, which is like give them a story to tell, right? So a lot of entrepreneurs think that information is going to get you a story. They're journalists. They're looking for news. They're looking for a hook, right? So for any of you in the room, for all of you in the room, if that is your struggle in getting visibility in PR to have marketing opportunity, maybe start with the headlines you'd like to see and then work backwards into the story that you can tell that can become news to get picked up by a journalist.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome. We're doing good. I can go through this whole line and we keep it going.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
I'm a nurse and an esthetician, and I'm trying to...
Y'all gotta maybe talk. Okay, keep going.
I just spoke to them. I'm trying to branch out of the internet aspect. I find that it's easy to get followers, but I can't transition them from followers to customers that actually buy and contribute to my business in a useful way. People may share, or people I know, like, you know, family support, but I want to get bigger and be able to sell to people in person, or like Trader Joe's or something like that, if you have any tips.
General advice. It's hard for everybody to translate followers into customers.
Right.
Okay? It's very hard. It's not easy. And anyone who tells you it's easy is lying to you. Okay? Because if so, we'd all be sitting at home just collecting money, looking at our Stripe account. Okay? Right. It's not that easy. So let me just tell you. Someone who's sold things online, and I've done well, but it wasn't easy. Okay? And the people who are doing it really well have been doing it for a very long time.
Right.
Okay? Anyone you look at has been blogging since the word blog existed, if they're making money like sleep. Right. Okay? So don't compete with that in your head. That's one. Two is, I think you have a lot of opportunity, even within social, to poll, to ask questions, you know, to do. Look, I've seen people do the most interesting things, especially in COVID. Do y'all see all these people that were sending Starbucks gift cards to people, and they were like, I only have like 50 for my community, but you gotta get them now, latte on me, da-da-da-da-da, and it's like, you just gotta do this to get it, and then all of a sudden you had like information on 50 people who wanted a free coffee, but that is far less money than you spending money into the ether on ads when you maybe don't know exactly who your customer is, right? So think of like fun, interesting, low-cost ways. It won't always be completely free, right? But maybe it could be. Maybe it could be, hey, look, I'm a nurse and I'm gonna give complimentary consultations on XYZ if you come on my live and I've got room for 10 people.
Okay.
Right? What do you have to give that they really want?
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, my name is Mandisa. Very excited to be here hearing from you. My question today is, if, you know, from someone like yourself, a woman of all trades, if you have multiple businesses that you're currently pushing, is there a specific formula that you would recommend as to how to bridge the two or multiple? And part two of that question is, if you should not be bridging, how do you decide which business to push at a particular time, if not all at once?
I know we're here talking about marketing.
Loaded question.
Well, it's a big question, but yes, we're in this room talking about marketing, but marketing is designed to have an ROI, right? It's designed to make you money. Now, there's the room next door with some of my colleagues talking about cash flow, and I'm gonna go there for a minute. Push whatever's making you the most money. That's it. It's really not a hard formula, okay? Now, then you might get to a place where I was recently, which was, you know what? It's not about time or space or no conflicts. Recently, last year, I passed out from working too much, okay? It was not a pretty sight, really. It was not cute. Not cute at all. But I'll tell you, I got a lot of engagement on my post about passing out because other women were working too hard passing out too, first of all. Second of all, it's true, and I can laugh about it now, but it was not funny then. But the stories were like, whoa. The fellas like that too. So push what's making money, A. B, when and if you get to the point where you feel that you have the freedom, right, where you don't have conflicts, right? I have no conflicts in the work that I do. It's a really beautiful place to be. I wrote a best-selling business book back in 2014. It's still very applicable today. It's called The Path Redefined. The subtitle is Getting to the Top on Your Own Terms. I thought that 8 years ago. I still think that today, okay? And in my book, there is a chapter called Build a Life That is Serendipitous by Design. I encourage you to go read the chapter because it's important. It's all about how do you build a business, a life, and a career where everything that you do enforces, helps, supports the next thing or is complementary to other things that you do well or that you want to continue to do. Now, going back very quickly to where I was last year, I was in this place where, my goodness, had I built a life that was serendipitous by design, but my goodness, Lauren Maillian is only one human being, and there really is only 24 hours in a day, and I have to sleep for at least 8. So then it wasn't just about what's making the most money, because I found myself in a position where I was doing everything that was making the most money. Then, when you get to that point, step 2 is, where do you make the most money optimizing your talent, i.e. less amount of time for most amount of money, okay? That's step 2.
Got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Lauren. Thank you so much for taking time out to come here today. I'm Tashani, and I have a cleaning business that does interior cleaning, commercial and residential. One of our main things, it's actually called New Era Trend Maids and Pros. One of our main cleaning is Ording cleaning. And that's Ording with the H. I'm from Jamaica, they say we don't pronounce the H, so that's Ording, H-O. So one of my thing is, as a public admin expert as well, I've also added a social service component to my business. And the reason being is that I find that a lot of our clients are elderly and disabled and so on, that hoards. And it's a big thing in New York City. And so I'm trying to bring that attention to some of my colleagues that are elected officials and so on, for them to kind of create a bill, because a lot of our clients, unfortunately, are at risk of being evicted and they can't afford the service, and we can't send out our workers for free, even though we do offer a social work component to it. But I want to create a package. Our clients and their social workers and their attorneys are kind of leery about putting their information out there because it's kind of a sensitive thing. So in putting the package and get it to be in the news media and all of that.
What's the question? I'm sorry.
The question is, like, how do I put together a package that would make people want to know that we have this issue in New York City, it's a big thing, but also to not violate the privacy of the customers.
I think that you speak to those partners that you just mentioned, and you ask them what would be required in order to partner with you in this way, and you put together a partnership, and you market that partnership to, I'm unclear on who the end consumer would be in this instance. I don't know if that's your client, your direct client.
It's just to bring the issue to light, to make people know that there's an issue so that we can get funding for people who can't afford the service.
So I think you probably use a lot of before and after pictures and you go and you speak to these other stakeholders that you've just mentioned to me, and you see what they would require in order to partner with you, and think long and hard about what you want to see in a partnership and what they could deliver to you, see what that looks like on paper, and see how many bites you get, right? And then you just keep iterating from there, okay? Partnerships are a negotiation. So you get to ask for what you want, and they get to ask for what they want, and everybody gives and takes a little bit, and you land somewhere, hopefully, eventually.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, I think we can do the last couple, but we've got to do them quickly, I believe.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Leah Wright. I am a fashion and travel YouTuber and blogger. I've been having my blog on for, well, my business going for about a year now. And I've been able to make revenue between like Google ads and affiliate marketing. So my next step now that I'm looking to do is do like digital products, ebooks, and courses on how to start a fashion blog and travel blog. I guess like tips on marketing it and launching it. And a successful launch?
Yes, I think.
Okay, sorry.
Any other ands? No, just. I would say you already have an audience, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so take your audience on this journey. Do not go do all this work behind the scenes and then pop up with a, hey, I got an offering, it costs X, and sign up here. Take them on this journey and let them also inform you along the way of what they want to hear or learn from you in said ebook, said course. Start sharing. Especially in IG, you can do the little questions where it's like, y'all want to know my biggest pain point in becoming a blogger in the first place, or what do you think is the worst thing that could happen to me when I'm out here blogging? And like, let them say, I don't know, no Wi-Fi, no this, no that. From that, you'll learn maybe what you need to teach in your course or in your class, right? How to problem solve on the fly, how to work without a tripod. I mean, who knows what they need to know. But if you start prompting them, trust you me, you have an audience and this is what you do and what you're known to do to them, they will engage and answer these questions and or they will share their stories. So I would try both. I would try asking questions. I would try sharing your story and inviting them to share theirs. Like, this is my horror story of the time that I had to do XYZ and all my tech was broken. What's your worst story, right?
Right.
And from that, you can, again, work backwards and start creating a curriculum that solves those particular issues or concerns that your audience might have. But I highly recommend that you take them on the whole journey. When I launched a personal branding boot camp for women in COVID, and it sold out time and time and time again. But these women also watched me go from, I ain't never had a course before, I don't know if this is gonna work, to, what do y'all wanna know? Personal branding there's a lot, And then they also saw me behind the scenes writing the questions out to the branding Bible that ended up being 115 pages that they got when they became a part of my program, but they knew the effort because I had put it on my stories. I had shared it. I had shared staying up, asking myself questions and thinking about my own journey and making sure that I'm sharing every single touch point that I might have forgotten about or I might not have at the top of my mind, but make sure that your community sees your hustle and what you're building, because then they're gonna want to support it, just cause, if they're already your audience, right? Mm-hmm. They might not all buy, but they're gonna wanna support, they're gonna wanna share, they're gonna wanna do something if they see you sleepless nights, to make it happen. And then, again, if you've listened to them, the product should actually serve exactly what they need.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Lauren.
Hello.
And everyone else. My name is Cecilia Bell, and I'm out of Washington, D.C. I love, I love the slides, all of them, but I love the ones that had the women with the businesses that was in cosmetology. So that one, I want to be next. I want to be down at the bottom, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so I am a real estate agent, but I'm also an investor, and I've been flipping houses since '04, and I find myself with my company, Double Dutch, it's always about somebody doing something, want to do something, don't do something, sitting there, whether you want to leave your job, get married, get a divorce, have a kid, do a nonprofit, whatever, just jump is what I want to do. So I find myself, this flipping thing is a male-dominated business. Yes or yes? It is. So I want to change that piece, because there's so many of us women that are good and better than the guys.
Yes.
And we can do it too. So we got to put that out there. So I'm looking for help, because when I market my classes, that's okay, but I know it could be so much better if I had the right tools to get the word out and spread it.
What's your question, Mike?
Across the USA. The question is, how do I get it out there? How do I get the presence, or I guess reach more people? Because I know what the niche is. especially for millennials that don't want to work for anybody, they want to run their own business. So how do I do that?
You want to reach more people to work for you, or reach?
I want to reach more people to share with them the wealth building piece in real estate by flipping.
Start
houses.
writing about it. Write about it. Share it. Share before and afters. Share transformations of the houses that you're flipping. Share your tips for finding good contractors no matter what city you're in. Talk to them about the highs, the lows, the goods, the bad. Share that it's not really all that easy. Share every piece of your journey, but I would say start writing about it. Start writing about it. You might even want to start podcasting about it. You know, take folks on your social journey behind the scenes of how you look for opportunities. Are you getting these homes on list pendants? Like, where are they coming from, right? There's a big education gap there. A lot of people don't know how to flip houses because they don't know how to find houses at low cost, right? So why don't you break down the steps and start speaking about them organically? Okay? Thank you. You're welcome.
Hello, my name is Alexis Callie. I'm from New Jersey. I'm a makeup artist. I'm a mom. I'm a store owner, entrepreneur. I'm a moneymaker. My question is, I'm a makeup artist, right? So I've been doing makeup for years for usually people that's going to brunches, parties, events. I want to do more serious jobs. I don't really want to say the word celebrity, but I want to get bigger jobs, more important jobs. How can I reach those people and get paid? Because I can reach them and they'll let me do it for free, basically. Like, I don't get paid. If I reach out to them, I'm like, hey, you know, I'm a makeup artist. They're like, okay, yeah, we'll tag you. You can come do it, and then we'll tag you, maybe.
So determine which ones you might want to do for free, because maybe it's worth being tagged on their page. Maybe it's worth adding them to your client list if they are aspirational to who your true clients are. So some might be worth your time. And make sure that you're constantly talking about what you're doing, the techniques that you're learning, that you're at the top of your game. And I would say, even if we're talking about social, hashtag a lot, tag a lot, but it's hard. I'm not going to tell you anything else.
I'm trying to get them.
It is really difficult.
Well, they take me serious. Let me just say that they do take me serious. But it seems like when you reach out to people, they kind of treat you like you're to help. Like, okay, well, I'll see what I can do.
I think the assumption in a role like yours is that when you're reaching out to someone, it's because you want their business, and so, you know, maybe you want to reframe how you're reaching out to people, right? Maybe you want to reframe that as, if it's someone of a certain profile, you put up front, I would be happy to do this for you, you know, complimentary, and hope that this can be the beginning of our working relationship, right? How are you actually?
I'm still that exact thing you just
said. Take it, take it. Take
Yeah.
it. Anybody at home, take it. Use it, please. But again, it's how you're framing, because I get those kinds of messages all the time, and I probably don't want to pay, especially if you want to give it to me, right? So I say thank you. I know how to say thank you. I know how to be gracious.
Okay.
So again, just think about how you're framing the way in which you are reaching out to folks, right?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
While I'm here, I am a makeup artist, and I would love to do your makeup. I had to take my chances. I would love to do your makeup complimentary, you know, to hopefully us
and
work
maybe
together.
it'll be the beginning of our working relationship. Okay.
See how
there you
that
have it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. We're done. I'm being told that we're done with questions, but I will answer them on the side very happily, but I do have to get off of the stage. Okay. Thank you so very much for your time.
The closing session will be